the first thing you got to do when you get to the machine is you got to switch on the main power supply over here in that position, and you will have the screen come on, and that's just going to be booting up. This takes a bit of time. It's just booting up the PLC. Second of all, you're going to see the screen's going to pop up like this. The first thing you're going to make sure is that this E-stop, emergency stop, is out. If it was in, the light would be on. So when it's out, the light is off. So you know that that's off. Okay, now to clear this, this is the master control relay, the MCR. You clear that out. Alright, and then over here, you should be able to hear it click on the inside. And it's basically you resetting the master control relay. So once the screen is in this status, what you do is we're going to log in. So we're going to log in over here. The word here is manager. Alright, and then in caps, you got to go to the password. Over here the password is MGR. Okay, and then you enter that in, and then your controls will come up. But we will make a note of that password and the username inside this control box. You'll have that. So now you've got access to all the screens on top there. I'm going to just get rid of that flashing over there. Basically what we're saying there is reset the batch count, so you can take that out. We don't need that. So here's your home screen. So this is going to be your run screen almost. So on every time you'll go into this, because when you want to start the machine, you can either choose to have it in start mode, in index mode, or into, I have to be in auto to activate the start full mode. Okay, so that gives you two options that you can toggle between them. But if you're going to be in index mode and you go into auto, so now I'm in auto, and if I hit the start button, what will happen is the machine's going to start, but it's going to index the set, meaning that the whole set of empty bottles right now, if you can just zoom in on those empty bottles, these are all empty right now. What will happen is the index, they will actually leave, and that will be indexed. But in this case, because they're empty, I need to be in a full mode situation so that the nozzles will actually come down and fill. So that's the two modes that you can start in. Also over here, you're going to have your sensor status. So you've got your in-gate, your out-gate, your downstream backup eye, your drip tray, your nozzles up, your nozzles down. Okay, let me just go over this quickly. So the in-gate is saying it's blocked right now because there's bottles in the way, right? If there was no bottle in the way there, you would have it unblocked. Can you just take that? So I'm taking the bottle out of the in-gate feed there, so that's the in-feed eye. So there's no bottle at the moment there. So when I come over here, it actually says clear. Now the machine won't run when it's like this because it's waiting for that bottle. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Again, the star wheel over here, there's a sensor over here. If you look down the bottom, that light there, that's going to be on. Okay, so it's seeing that pin right now, but if I was to turn this and have no, the light will go off. That's not in, it's not properly engaged. Something happened. It wasn't in full contact there. So at the moment you have your out gate and your in gate are both clear. So that's indicating this machine will not run right now. If I hit the start button, it won't run because it's waiting. It's saying it's running, but it's not, because that eye, both those eyes are actually, in fact, they're not being seen right now. All right, so we're back into the run situation that we want to be in. Just let you know the drip tray retract. So if I was to go in that, all I'm going to do there is I'm going to extend the drip tray. So in this screen, it's also giving it to me here. This is the manual screen, which we'll go over just now. But I'm just letting you guys know that these over here are your sensors to show you where everything is. When something is not working in the machine and you're not sure, look at these sensors. They'll tell you a lot about the machine, what status it's in. This product, full tank, will also cover later. It's also going to stop you from running the machine when you want to run and there's no product in. All right. So there it is as well. Obviously, if there's no product in, it's not going to want to run because there's a float that we also covered just now. So basically, if you want to stop the machine and it's in a cycle and it actually fills the bottles up, you can hit the stop button, and what will happen is the nozzles will just come up and it will just stop the machine. Again, the same as when you pause the cycle. So it's basically the machine is in running, but it will probably say running here, but it's still going to be now stopped. Okay, here, let's go into the data screen right now. So data screen, I'm just going to go over this quickly. We set this for a batch count of 100. Once it gets to that 100 in the PLC, the total count, actually over here we need to say it's a 16 nozzle. So that's going to give us, when it gets to that amount, it's going to then actually stop the machine and it won't run. So always come into this, if you have, in actual fact, set a batch count. If you haven't, you know, it's off, it's off. But it's a very handy tool to have. So that basically self-explanatory. This will give you, well, when we say that's not really right, it's because when we stop and start, it will give you a very high number. But if you're actually watching the machine while it's running, you can actually hit this data screen and it will come up and it will actually give you the bottles per minute, and then you'll see what the live count is, but you'd have to do that once you're running production. That's just the cycle time seconds. The setup screen, I'm just going to go over this quickly. So your index delay, once the bottles come in, and the conveyor will carry on running, and so you'll have an index delay there of 0.25 seconds. So we can have a higher index delay, will mean that our conveyor will carry on running a little bit longer once all the bottles are in, and it's going to delay there and it's going to wait. And so if I increase that to 1 second or whatever, it will give me longer time on my conveyor, meaning my bottles will get further down the conveyor. Now the reason why I'm telling you this is because you might have to play with that number to see how far down from the downstream backup eye goes, because once this is blocked over here, the machine will also be stopped automatically. This is a safety precaution so that we don't have, in actual fact, we don't have a backup of bottles coming all the way around, and then when this set is finished, if you don't have your backup downstream eye, what will happen is the nozzles will come up, it will index the set. Now you've got a whole bunch of full bottles hitting a bunch of full bottles over here, and it's going to slow everything down, and then you're going to have mishaps over here on the nozzles. So downstream backup eye, safety. Okay, the conveyor speed, self-explanatory, 95%. You can change it, hit that button, change to whatever you want, and it will change it. Downstream backup eye, so for 1.5 seconds, that eye over there, it's going to wait that before it actually sees the bottle. And you can take that up to like 10 seconds. Yeah, I think that's your maximum, which is 10. Do this just to see if that is, yeah, you see it goes, so 10 is your maximum on that. What were we, sorry, 1.5, back to that. Okay, I'm just putting it back to where it was. This in-feed timer over here is the amount of time once all the bottles are in and the last bottle gets in to the in-feed eye, it waits that 1.5 seconds before it says, okay, all the bottles are here, come down and start the cycle. Now if you have a very short time there, what will happen is as soon as the last bottle gets there, it's going to go straight away, the nozzles are going to come down. So you want to give yourself a little bit of time there, just so that when the bottles are in, everything gets settled in nicely and the nozzles will come down. And then the discharge time is the amount of time that the bottles take to leave and exit out of this full area, which is at the moment it's 7 seconds. So once that full area is empty, that's when the discharge time says, okay, I'm happy, and then that star wheel will actually stop after that 7 seconds, and that will be the first empty bottle again will stop here. Your index mode, you can have it on run or index. Index means it's going to index the set, so it's stop and start. Run will mean the conveyor will just run permanently even through the fill. You'll just have it continuously running. But mind you, when you have that, you're going to have to change this time a little bit because the times will be different. It might be a shorter time if you have it in run mode. It's not advisable to run an overflow filler in run mode. It's always better to have it in index mode. The only challenge you'll probably find here is going to be that index the downstream backup eye, the timing of that. Make sure that you can get a full set of bottles out before they block this eye, kind of deal. These are just manual operations. So at the moment we have the star mode. We don't use pin mode for this because if you just shine down in here, just show this is a star wheel that you guys will be having. So over here we have it in star mode, and that's why we have it. Obviously that's an option that we have there for that. So in-gate and out-gate. So that's going to be called an out-gate right now, which is this cylinder over here. And basically what's just happened right now is I've opened the pin at the bottom here, which was holding the star wheel in position. And I'm going to just close it again. And that's the position that you want there to be in when there's a set of bottles in there. Conveyor stop and start. So that's just to show you that I hit the conveyor. It's a manual function. I run the conveyor. Alright, that's that screen. These are all manual operations. Level up and down. Drip tray, retract in and out. In-gate we don't use because we don't have an in-gate on this right now. We only have the out-gate. Conveyor, suck-back pump. If I have my suck-back pump, I just want to start it. I just hit it on, off. That's just an on-off system. The float bypass. So there's a ball float that he's going to show us right there. Basically what happens here is we got water in the tank, and we're actually making that float right now. So that ball over there, when that ball actually goes up, that's a full tank. When it's down, it's a low tank, and then it will call for product straight away. Thank you very much for that. If we want to bypass that, so we want to ignore that float altogether, what we can actually do is we hit the bypass on. Now what that's going to do, it's going to ignore that float, and we're going to be able to empty that tank out. So if it's like the end of the day comes, you want to end of the shift, you want to empty out your tank, you'd put it into float bypass and you'd run that product finished. Now you won't be introducing more product into the tank because you're ignoring the float. This is a manual full tank. At the moment it is full, so even if I hit this button, nothing's going to happen because the tank is full right now. But if there was no product, obviously it will fill the tank up. Alright, back into the setup over here. The setup, some more screens come as well, and that's your indexing, which we've already been through. The full set over here, it's your full times. So stage 1 is 12 seconds, stage 2 is 4 seconds, and these are the stage pump speeds. So for 12 seconds of this full, I'm going to be running at 75%. When it jumps over to second stage, it slows the pump, everything slows down because that's how overflows work. You're only in there for 4 seconds, but you're only in for 35% of the pump speed. So obviously what I want to do with this bottle is I want to fill it up more or less 3/4 of the way fast, which is that 75%. So I fill it up about there, and then that last 25% volume of the container, I just want to fill that up, you know, at a very slow speed. So I bring everything up pretty slow altogether for 4 seconds. That time is the time that you're going to see the product going at the back to tank, and once you see that product on all of these going back, that's going to determine that time over there, that 4 seconds. So that varies. Sometimes you can have it even longer, it don't matter, because you're always going to be back to tank, but you don't want to leave it too long because then it's a waste of time. So here you can actually disable it, okay, and you can enable the pump. That's your suckback pump. So with the thicker product, what will happen is on an overflow filler, the suckback pump is just going to pull some of that product back to tank. It's going to just assist us back to tank. So what we like to do is we like to have that at the same time as the first stage. So this is only going to come on when first stage is finished, and we're only going to be in there for 2 seconds because we also don't want to squeeze the container, and otherwise we'll be just sucking product out of here with that pump being on. So that's the time we've got to play, and it's all product dependable on what product we're running. We don't know these times for sure right now. We'd have to play with those. Okay, so I'm going to disable it. That takes that function away because at the moment we're just running water. So with a thin product, we don't use a suckback pump. we only use it on a thick product. That's actually putting it on, and that's actually switching it off manually. Okay. Here the system clean. On this one, what you basically got to do is you got to have your cylinder come down. I'll just make sure everything's lined up here. All right. Just want to make sure everything is nice and lined up. Sorry, Doug. Okay. So basically, what I want to do here is I want to bring the cylinder down. When I bring the cylinder down, I can have the timing here for 1 minute. It's going to give me 1 minute, and I'm going to have about 50% pump speed, and then I'm just going to say fluid path clean. And basically what's happening right now is for 1 minute I'm just going to do a fluid path clean. So this would be with my cleaning solution, and I'm going to just run this back into tank at 50%, and you can choose whatever you want here. And basically the machine's running right now. You'll see that you get returned back here back into the tank, and that's all that's happening right now. So I'm just basically cleaning it out. But I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to switch off the pump first, let it dwell there, and then just bring it up. Yeah, we only have water in the tank, so it's nice and easy. But if you had product in, this would be called the fluid path clean, the wash. Okay. All right. Here's the dive system. So over here, this is a dwell time. So once the pump is finished pumping and the machine is filled up, all the bottles, everything is filled up, you have this 0.5 of a second dwell time. So it's just holding it there, letting all the pressure out of the bottle, and then it will come up. Because if it comes up straight away, once the pump switches off, it's like a dead stop. You'll have like a splash, and that's not going to be good. So we always have a bit of a dwell time there. Again, product related, of course it can vary. It can be up to 1.5 seconds. That time you just have to play around. Drip tray extend, so the drip tray is going to wait there for 0.25 of a second, and then it will extend. Drip tray react, also 0.25 of a second to retract. That's actually very nice to have, because especially if you have a product that like drips a little bit, then you want your extend to come out quicker, and then wait here a little bit longer, let that drip come onto the tray before it retracts, and you can manipulate it with these tabs. More manual controls we won't go over again, because we don't have this power height. We don't actually have it. We just have a manual. So this, if you had it, it would be. Let's go over here, Doug. Just want to show you. So it's just a manual. Up and down, moving this up and down, and that will move this whole nozzle bar up and down to whatever height you need, or whatever you need for that bottle. But just remember, when you move this up and down, you want to move this neck grabber back. Do all your adjustments here, get your spring tension right, get all this, your settings right over here, make sure that's all good, and then you can move this into position, because this moves with this. So if I was to move this down, what would happen is this would actually hit these bottles now, and it would actually start hitting down on the bottles, and we don't want that. So when we set the height of the nozzle bar, we move this back, or you can even take it off, up to you guys, however you want to do it. We'll go over that just now as well, just so that the guys know what I'm talking about when I say settings. Alright, the product refill delay. Okay, this product refill delay, sometimes you might only, if you put that on 3, right, that's going to be 3 cycles. So on the 3rd cycle, the product pump's going to come on, and it's going to fill up, because sometimes you don't, if it's a small bottle full, you don't want the pump coming on every time. So you just have it every 3 cycles, it will come on. So the tank can take up to like 75, 80 gallons or whatever. You're letting that, come down a little bit, that's fine, you can do that. But with a fill like this, which is, these are gallon containers, so that's 16 gallons coming out of that tank. You don't want to do that every 3, you want that to be, as soon as we've got no product in, give us more product, because 3 cycles we're nearly going to empty out that tank, so we don't want that. So with bigger containers, keep that at 0. Smaller containers, you can implement that. At the moment, it is showing me a low tank. That's because I was doing a clean cycle now, so that water that's in there, it's actually showing me that I do have a low tank right now. and then I do have function of the float bypass again. We've been through that. I can actually do a manual fill right now, and there I'm going to fill up that tank. Basically I'm just replenishing that water that I took out in the clean cycle, which is still in these containers. And you'll see that will eventually turn green. I just want to jump over to this. This is just machine reset, total cycles, total hours. We can reset that, it'll just give us a 0 there. By the time you guys get it, there might be something in there, nothing major to happen. Recipe over here, that's what we're in right now. So let's go back to that. Where were we? It's set up, and we were in product. Now you see your tank is full. It's just filled up now. So now I know I can go into run. When I want to run the machine, I hit the home screen. I hit fill because I'm still in there, and I hit start, and I'll start running the machine. And that's it. Okay. Just one more thing I want to show you guys over here, what I was talking about, the spaces. So these spaces, I have 2.5 inches right now. These spaces are giving me my fill level in the container. Just to make this a little bit, just for demonstration purposes. So if I add spaces on here, I can add this. So exaggerated, this would be, if I had to put more spacing in here, that would actually add product into this bottle right now. At the moment we're at 128 ounces where we want to be for this product. So if I wanted to put in more into the bottle, I'd just add more spaces. If I wanted to take product out of the bottle and I'd need to get this tube deeper into the bottle, then I'd remove spaces over here. So I'd remove that spacer, which is a 1/2 inch. Maybe I take that out. Then what will happen is I'll remove product out of here. So now all of a sudden my fill level will be deeper down. So just want to show you the return tube. That's the return tube over there, and that's the height of where you'd be returning product back into this. So obviously if I take that out and I take that out, just demonstrate to you guys over here, I've taken those out. Now look how much deeper this section here goes into the bottle. That means I'm going to have less product in here. But I can't just do it on one, I have to do it on all of them. I can't just do it on just the one. So it's basically, in a nutshell, everything that I think we've covered, everything on the screen and on the settings over here. Just remember, when you do this and you want to set all this, make sure that this the neck grabber is back so that that doesn't interfere. Once you know your fill levels are good and you've measured everything and you're happy, then you can put this guy on and you can do your production run straight after that. Over here I just want to show you guys that this is when you're running a thin product. Basically what you want to do is you want to bypass this. This is your suckback pump. So basically what you're doing is, this is your return manifold over here, this section over here. So this is the infeed right here. This is the infeed section that goes in. That's your infeed. This is your outfeed, and then that's the overflow. So whatever comes out of here, it's bypassing that pump right now, and it's going straight here, and it's going straight back to tank. Okay? So the product goes back, and it goes back in the tank. All right. So with that said, that's for thin product. Now when you turn over to your thicker product, you're going to disconnect this off of here. Well, you can disconnect it here and there, okay? And then you're going to have this hose, which we'll label for you guys, and that is going to be connected up over there and there, okay? So now all of a sudden you're going to be having this setup going in through the tank, all right? And then you'll connect this guy, will be connected up over here. So what will then happen is you're going to have your overflow is going to be coming through the pump, and then that will, when you have your suck back on, what will happen is it's going to suck back and pull back, and that's for the thicker product. Remember, on your touch screen you have your you can enable and you can disable your suck back pump. So that's what you do there, and then that will be ignored. So at the moment we have it on just water. It's just a bypass right now. And That's it. Just one thing, you want to always make sure once it's all connected that the pumps are indeed turning the right direction, and you have your directional arrows on both of them right there. Is your directional arrows. And then there's also your check valves. You have your check valves in here and here. It's been marked. So basically what will happen is that keeps the system pressurized here. When you do your clean out and you want to take all your product out of this line, you'd have to manually disassemble them over here so that that will actually be able to be drained out. Otherwise you won't be able to, because your check valve is in. And, obviously your tank over here, you have a manual drain over here as well. When you want to get that last section of product out at the bottom, here's your manual drain right over here. Just turn that and the rest of the product will come out of there. And you're ready for cleanup. So just to add on a side note there, this over here is the return hose going through to the suckback pump. When you do the thick product, you're using this setup, but when you're doing the thinner products, you'll hook up a hose which we'll supply to you from here directly to the tank. And here you would use that blank that comes off of there, and you would blank it off over here. So you use the blank over there, and that's basically going to be your setup.